different isn't bad. It's just not the same.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Anne with an E moments.
I don't understand. Well, I'm sure the girl will be only too happy to tell you every little detail of what happened. She's got a tongue of her own, that's for certain.
How did it all get so mixed up? I was writing about justice and equality. What could be more virtuous than that?
You are a wish come true I never knew I was making.
For this list, we're looking at the most memorable moments from this show. As is to be expected, a spoiler alert is now in effect. Did your favorite moment make the list? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Gilbert protecting Anne. Fans of the books were anxiously awaiting Gilbert and Anne's first meeting, which ended up happening in the third episode of the show. While Anne is walking to school one day, she's cornered and bullied by Billy Andrews.
I'm gonna teach you a lesson, Fido. You're a bad dog. Bad dog.
Gilbert witnesses the scene and shows up to protect Anne, though their relationship doesn't remain friendly for long.
You're welcome. Need anything else? Any dragons around here need slaying?
No, thank you.
One of the most iconic moments of the first Anne of Green Gables book occurs when Gilbert teases Anne, calling her carrots, and she just breaks her school slate over his head.
Carrots.
I'm not talking to you!
The scene in the show totally does this moment justice, showing Anne's uncontainable ire. Number 9. The Raspberry Cordial. Another memorable moment from the novel, which was adapted excellently for the screen, involves a mix-up of currant wine and raspberry cordial. Anne is allowed to invite Diana over for tea, but ends up inadvertently serving her friend alcohol without realizing it.
There is so much to look forward to when we are even older. Bosoms! We get to wear corsets because we'll have bosoms!
Diana becomes drunk, and her parents, understandably, forbid her from being friends with Anne any longer.
You are not a fit little girl for Diana to associate with.
But it wasn't on purpose.
Moreover, the girls are not to sit together at school. They are not to fraternize in any manner at any time.
Luckily, in the following episode, Anne manages to get back in their good books by saving their other daughter Minnie's life when she comes down with a severe illness.
I must admit she's got a presence of mind quite unusual in a child her age.
Number 8. Matthew and Anne's meeting. In the very first episode of Anne with an E, Anne arrives in Prince Edward Island to be picked up by Matthew at the train station. Unfortunately, she's not exactly who he was expecting.
I can also imagine that I'm already a disappointment to you. I'm aware that I'm not much to look at, but even though I'm thin, I'm very strong.
He and his sister Marilla were hoping to adopt a boy to help out on their farm.
I don't understand. Well, I'm sure the girl will be only too happy to tell you every little detail of what happened. She's got a tongue of her own, that's for certain.
Anne, unaware of the mix-up, talks Matthew's ear off the entire ride home, charming him along the way.
If you have big ideas, you have to use big words to express them, haven't you?
Well, I suppose so.
For example, I am enraptured by this glorious landscape.
By the time they arrive at Green Gables, you'd have been hard-pressed to convince Matthew that he should send her back to the orphanage. Number 7. The first day of school. In the show's second episode, we learn that Anne was bullied before finding herself at Green Gables. The following episode, Anne starts at the local school and realizes that her larger-than-life personality may cause her to experience the same type of unkind treatment all over again.
It is a scrumptious pleasure to make your acquaintances, and I shall do my utmost to prove myself worthy of your friendship. Anne loves to read, and she knows ever so many big words. Does she use them all in every sentence?
When Diana introduces Anne to the other schoolgirls, some of them are immediately mean to her, and it becomes clear that she won't have an easy time making friends.
Why did they make you wear that old lady dress? It's just nice to have something new. If you're an orphan, I suppose, I wouldn't be caught dead in it.
It's an upsetting sequence that makes the audience feel deeply for Anne. But luckily, over time, the other girls do eventually warm to her and her wonderfully quirky ways.
However, do you think of such amazing things all the time? I draw from life, Diana. Draw from life.
Number 6. Diana speaking to Gilbert on the train.
Admit it. You've been smitten with Anne ever since she first came to Avonlea and smashed your slate over your head.
By the end of the show's third and final season, it's evident to pretty much everyone that Anne and Gilbert are in love. but they still haven't managed to get on the same page due to a series of mishaps and misunderstandings. In the series finale, Diana confronts Gilbert on the train, yelling at him and essentially telling him to get his act together in regard to Anne.
Then you show up at the ruins after exams and demand to know how Anne feels about you and give her all of 30 seconds to decide her entire future. And worst of all, you callously ignore the letter Anne wrote to you, even though she told you she loved you.
What letter?
Luckily, her admonitions aren't totally necessary.
I have to know. Do you truly have feelings for me?
Seeing Diana jump in to speak up for her best friend, even if it means eschewing her typical etiquette, just goes to show how close the bond is between the two young women. Number 5. Anne and Gilbert dance. Partway through the 3rd season, Anne and her classmates are practicing their steps for the upcoming county fair barn dance.
So, Anne, are you gonna dance with Charlie tomorrow? Am I what?
By this point, the romantic tension has begun to build between her and Gilbert, and it's incredibly obvious when they begin to dance.
And swing through raised arms to form another set. Here we go.
Even though they're in a crowded room, they only have eyes for each other, and time seems to slow as they lock eyes. This feels like a moment of marked change in their relationship, and it's certainly one that the fans who had been shipping them for 3 seasons have come to treasure. Number 4. The freedom of speech protest. After Anne publishes a controversial editorial in the newspaper, she finds herself coming up against resistance and is ultimately taken off her writing position.
At its core, the piece was stirring and thought-provoking. In a larger newspaper with a broader readership that is open to the changing times, your words might have made a positive impact.
The town elders attempt to control what is and isn't published in the paper, with divergent viewpoints never able to see the light of day.
We will dictate a list of acceptable topics and issue a list of what is not fit to print. Now, this mandate will ensure there are no more surprises.
All in favor?
Just a minute.
Aye.
Done.
Anne and her classmates take up the cause of freedom of speech and stage a protest to express their views.
We are here to be heard. Even though we tried to silence our voices, well, we have a message for you.
This episode is a great example of how Anne with an E takes a modern issue and makes it relevant even when set in the 19th century. Number 3. Cole finding a home. In the 2nd season, Anne befriends Cole, a boy who seems to have just as hard a time of fitting in as she does. Cole ultimately tells Anne that he's gay, in a storyline that definitely wasn't in Lucy Maud Montgomery's novels.
I'm the same as Josephine Barry.
But with boys.
In one episode, they go to visit Diana's Aunt Josephine, who lives an eclectic life surrounded by members of the LGBTQ+ community.
You should expect a riotous good time. And you need not be anyone but simply yourself.
But I have such a history of doing just that and getting it all wrong and not fitting in, and it seems I'm not like everyone else.
Then you've come to the correct party.
At a party at her house, Cole feels welcome, and by the end of the season, Anne finds out that Josephine has invited him to come and live with her so that he can openly be himself.
Your family.
I know, but I can be free here. Myself. I need to be who I am.
Number 2. Anne becoming a Cuthbert. Much of the drama of the first couple of episodes of the show comes from wondering if Anne will be able to realize her dreams and actually stay at Green Gables, or whether Marilla and Matthew will send her back to the orphanage.
I just don't want to get too attached. Not if it's all gonna disappear.
At the end of the 2nd episode, however, their family's fate is cemented when they officially ask Anne to become a Cuthbert.
We want our name to belong to you.
I'm going to belong.
She signs the family Bible to confirm her addition to the family, but of course cannot let the moment pass without some of her signature theatrics.
With this pen, I take you, Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert, to be my family forever.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The finale. Sadly, Anne with an E was cancelled after the show's 3rd season, with the season finale being forced to act as a series finale. Luckily, though we definitely would have spent many more hours with these characters, their storylines were mostly wrapped up nicely. In this episode, the students take the Queen's exam, including Diana, who goes against her parents' will in order to do so.
Look what you're doing to your mother!
Why is it that who I am and what I want doesn't matter?
Oh, enough of this.
Most importantly for fans, however, Anne and Gilbert finally admit how they feel.
I'll write to you.
I have follow-up questions.
So do I.
Anne also finds some closure when she learns more about her birth parents, and is able to feel a sense of connection to the woman who bore her.
You gave me my wish. My birthday wish. My lifetime wish.
You are a wish come true I never knew I was making.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.